There's the camera. Okay, so I'm going to talk about farming economics today and some of the new, kind of the reason why you should care about new tactics that are being implemented. So first of all, by a show of hands, how many people know about the food crisis? Nobody?
No.
Alright, another question by a show of hands, does anybody know about the new tactics that are being implemented to help with the food crisis?
Nope.
No one at all. Alright. Good thing we're... So today we don't have a lot of food, and food is a scarcity. Yet we eat a lot of food, right? And then when we can't finish it, we throw it away. In fact, we throw a lot of food away, and we don't even think about it. Well, the same thing occurs in farming. They're using a lot of products, and they're using a lot of resources, and then they just toss whatever they don't have left, or whatever they have excess, and they don't even think about it. And because of that, we're depleting our natural resources, and we're running into problems with the chemicals that we're using to produce food. And it's been a huge issue. But first of all, why should farmers really care about it? Well, they get benefits by adding this new tactic system. They get more money. And the new tactics are learning on how to tap back the resources that are being used by limiting the amount and just doing the exact amount that they need, no more and no less. Well, they're not spending as much money then on the products that they need, and that's more money that they're saving. And they're finding that they're actually getting a bigger product with crops, which is adding more money on top of the money that they're saving. On top of that, they also have less waste. They have an issue right now with chemicals that are running off into pools and creating water in ditches that are being contaminated. Well, farmers are now getting fined. This new system is trying to move away from using chemicals, which eradicates the fines. So why should you guys care? Sounds like a bunch of farmer business, right? Well, if you're using less chemicals, there's less chemicals in your food. It's always appreciative. We're going more towards organic foods and not using antibiotics and using pesticides and all these chemicals that are causing health problems today. As well as prices. It is lowering prices. We're getting more food, less scarcity, our prices going down as demand's going up. So we get less prices for our food. And even as Julie Mentor from Yale of 2012 had mentioned, just so you can get an idea of the harm of the food crisis that we're in right now, and she said that in 9 to 10 billion people in 2050, food production will have to increase by 70%. And with the issues of more farmland being turned into cities and we're us not having enough food, I mean, that's a problem now. Imagine what it's going to be like in 2050. So what are some problems that were leading us down this path? Well, first of all, fertilizing chemicals are the two hugest problems. They're causing, remember those ditches I was talking about with all the puddles and the water? Well, those chemicals are running off from rainstorms, and it's causing a whole bunch of fines as well as killing off life. They have that huge problem with the bee population right now. It's nearly extinct because of all the pesticides have wiped them out. Well, that's decreasing the pollination, can't speak, sorry, of the crops, which is decreasing the yield of the crops, which is overall making our food scarcity problem worse. And as well, we're talking about tilling. Now, for those who don't know what tilling is when farmers turn up the dirt in the ground and they're able to plant a lot easier. Well, that causes a whole nother problem. With all the chemicals that they've been pouring in, they're corroding the soil, and when that's turned up, they're releasing all those gases up into the atmosphere, which is destroying the ozone layer. So it's more not only a food issue for us, but it's also an environmental issue for our planet and for our future generations. And there was a study done by Purdue University in 2010 about the gas emissions, and they found out that a no-till reduces nitrous oxide emissions by 57%. That's a huge percentage. And they're using too much labor costs. If they till the ground, that's an additional 6 weeks of work. 6 weeks that they're having to pay other laborers as well as time out of their own other jobs that they have in order to till the ground. So they're saving money all around. And when they save money, we save money. It's a domino effect. Now, some issues with implementation of these new tactics are that there's not enough awareness. It's really hard to tell every single farmer about it when there's so many different ways that farmers get their information. And it's hard to find people they trust. When we go, we want recommendations for a restaurant, we may talk to different people. We may only trust 1 or 2 people out of all the people we talk to, right? Well, it's the same thing with farmers. They only have a few sources that they actually trust to give them farming information. So the best tactical way to approach this is to be able to get your high majority of sources that have a huge clientele, get them to approve of the new tactics, and then trickle it down. But not only that, they also need incentives as well. Many of these new tactics are not equipment friendly. The farmers need all new equipment. And if anyone knows anything about farming equipment, it's ghastly expensive. You're talking millions of dollars. So people aren't going to go out and spend millions of dollars that may only save them a few bucks. It's too much of an output cost. So they're trying to work on that, but they're also trying to offer more money. Kind of like organic food is more expensive. They're trying to offer more money for farmers that will implement these new incentives to be able to produce a higher crop. But the other complication is just lack of time. When you're trying to learn something new, especially you and your computers, you struggle, it takes you longer with a computer. And it's a lot of times with these farmers. It's like teaching an old dog new tricks. Doesn't happen overnight, does it? And Michael Evans from Earth Times in 2011 summarized it very well. He said, a combination of lack of time and potential harm to profit margins have made farmers reluctant to put these into operation. And that is really true. And unfortunately, we just don't have the time right now with this crisis to just slowly edge our way in with these new tactics. We need to put them out there full force and try to get more farmers on board. So overall, these new tactics need to take in place to help with population, to help produce food for the population. If we don't, we're going to see an even higher scarcity in food, as well as the environment. Today we all see about going green and helping the environment with this and, trying to build the ozone layer back up. Well, we can do our own part too by helping farmers, not till, to use less chemicals, less pesticides, and even our own gardens in our backyard. Try and use in more natural ways instead of introducing all of those into our soil and into our atmosphere. And what's really holding these tactics back is, again, the new equipment is very expensive. They had one example of a soybean that they were able to make it work with old equipment, and it was a huge success because they made it work with the equipment that farmers already have. And money, you don't want to make your output cost too high, otherwise no one's going to do it. Why are you going to put more money into something if you're not going to get that profit back? And again, that saying old dog, new tricks works out everything. A lot of people are, especially farmers, we're all stubborn in our ways, what can I say? But you can get them to change. It just takes a good incentive, and money is one of the greatest incentives of all. And as well as with that, especially for the environmentalists out there, help just keep our world safer and better for our children and for their children, and teach them, you can have better, safer food that's healthier for you and better for our environment. And those are my sources. And I'll show everybody. Got a smile for the camera. Thank you.